everybody, I'm here with my fourth and final installment in the video series that I've been doing, looking at academic planning and just kind of tips and tricks for how you can maybe establish yourself with greater planner peace and with a little bit more structure for greater academic success. I have had 3 videos prior to this one. I will link all of them in the description of this one if you want to see them. This is the final video, and today what we're going to look at is we're going to look at this kind of mini planner that I shared with you in the last maybe 2 videos, just kind of gave you a little bit of a preview. What we're looking at today in this video is a little bit of a breakdown about how to look at specific content areas, like looking at project sort of work or research papers, and how you can do something called chunking, which basically means how you can take larger sort of projects or big deadlines and how you can strategize your time and your workload and stretch it out over multiple days in order for it not to be overwhelming for you to finish it for whenever and however you need to. If you're interested in hearing a little bit about a strategy called chunking for academic success as it's tied to planning, I invite you to stick around for the video, and I hope that what I have to share is helpful to you. So let's go ahead and watch the video. So in the last video, what we looked at is we looked specifically at this, which is a little bit more of a big picture view in a happy planner. And we went through each of the days of the week, and we talked about all sorts of things. We talked about how planner stickers are helpful and why they're helpful, having to do with kinesthetic learning and tactile learning. We talked about good times to have checkpoints throughout the week. And we talked about the importance of using these different rows for specific sorts of categories of tasks in order to ready yourself for the next kind of beginning of the day. As I said, this was more of a big picture view of trying to manage an academic schedule and an academic sort of a workload. I had hinted and said that we would look at things that kind of broke it down in a little bit more of a detailed view, looking at specific subject areas, just because people have asked if I could offer maybe some tips and tricks that I have used with my students in my classroom. And so I put this together as a little bit of a sample layout for what I kind of estimated a student might have, say, in middle school or just in the early years of high school. So we're going to move this out of the way. Now this is set up in a way that is actually something that I used for the purposes of lesson planning. I actually designed this with the colorful layout with myself in mind. I used this when I was a classroom teacher as a supplemental sort of a planning book, and it's a flat bound book, it's staple bound. There are enough weeks here so that this is about 1 marking period or 1 quarter. You could think of it that way. I think it's like 9 weeks. And I sell this insert in my Etsy shop. This is about a half letter size or an A5 size, and it's just like a flat bound sort of a book. And I have this little clay clip up here that you can slide across the top. So this was a little bit of a tip that I shared in my last video about how to easily find your place or just direct your attention down. If you kind of open it up, then you know it's Tuesday, and then the clip will direct your attention down the column of whatever it is that you are supposed to be focusing on in your planner. So what this does is this gives you a little bit of a sampling of if you had different subject areas: math, reading, science, social studies, and let's say, for example, Spanish. You could put any number of content areas in there if you wanted to, but I just chose these because I felt like they would be pretty general for anybody who might be doing school either at the middle school or the high school level. And what I did is I wrote in the subject areas here so that they are in the colorful boxes. And then in the spaces beneath the colorful boxes, I wrote little points about what the general kind of focus should be for any given week for that subject area. These would be just kind of like the main kind of highlights of what you might need to keep in mind as a big picture view of what your breakdown of your week is going to lead you to kind of towards the end of the week or even like within a couple of weeks. This is a little bit of like your learning goal or your achievement goal that I put in those white spaces beneath the content area headings. Then what we have is we have some vertical planning. so that we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I wrote in Saturday and Sunday. Just be blank sort of blank columns, so you could put in there after school, or you could put in there a certain activity or work schedule. Put in there Saturday and Sunday, just for the purposes of showing a little bit of what your weekends could look like when you had a full kind of content area schedule. So when it comes to math, it's my understanding that the way that homework usually is laid out is there's usually homework every night. Math and reading are the two content areas that seemingly there seems to be the heaviest of homework loads of all the content areas. That has to do with the high stakes testing that goes on and just kind of state standards and things. Every state has different educational standards, but in all of the schools that I have taught at, whether it is public school or private school, because I have taught in both sectors, math and reading are the two subject areas where there's always something to be done. So what I did here is I have, under math, I have test on Friday and drills every night. These are the two things to just bear in mind, the focuses of math that should be kept in mind through the whole rest of the week. These are planner stickers here, and I put down here on Monday, don't forget to bring home textbooks or notebooks or anything that you might need, just because in my experience as a content area teacher that doesn't teach math but that works alongside math teachers, sometimes what you can do is you can bring home certain things that you will need for the rest of the week for math homework. At the top of the week, I would recommend writing in the math homework that you could probably expect would be assigned in any given day, because from what I understand of math homework, a lot of teachers might be willing to actually give you what the overall kind of breakdown per day is, and you simply have to ask them. They might even have it written up on the board instead of them saying night by night, this is what you're going to do. They might have an actual kind of breakdown that they can give you, and then you can go ahead and plug that in per night. So math and reading, or math and like reading, writing, might be the easiest kind of subject areas to lay out long-term sorts of workload in order to break them down on the individual sorts of days. I have on Monday, don't forget to bring home your materials, and then maybe the drills or the exercises that you might have to do. And then Thursday here, in addition to the drills and the activities that you might have to do that connect with these two, I also wrote down the very important reminder, don't forget to put everything in the backpack. So then something on Friday that you might have, which would be like a test, and this is a little bit of like a full box sticker, or it could be a sticky note even, so that the patterning here is different from here, that calls attention to this particular day. And you see everything that I used here, this was all in a red, a warm sort of a palette. So this reminds you to don't forget to bring everything, and this kind of gives some emphasis and sets this apart, so then you know leading up to it there. So everything for math and everything for every other color row is all color-coded, it's all cohesive. For reading, let's say for example you have to work on an essay or a writing assignment, and you also have to do something like do 15 minutes of reading every night. So I just went ahead and wrote in a checkbox with 15 minutes every single night, because you know that's always something that you would have to do. Or even if you have to do something like read a whole entire book, if you don't have the requirement of reading 15 minutes every single night, just by doing that, it will make reading assignments so much easier to deal with, so then you're not having to read a half a book after you've had a whole week in order to have to do it. So just breaking it down into smaller chunks and spreading it out over every single night, it'll make it easier. It'll also make your retention better for the information that you're trying to read. While you're reading, what you can also do is get started on the essay, the writing assignment that you might have to do, by doing brainstorming or outlines and things. And I would recommend writing it by hand and then typing out your ideas, because what that helps you to do is it helps you to get things out maybe in a quicker way, and then it helps you to kind of edit as you need to by typing it out and clarifying it for yourself, even just putting it in a list form. After you have gone through, done your brainstorming, and then culled all your ideas, that means kind of like picking through, editing through your ideas, and then putting them in a neater format, then you can go through and find information for your bibliography because you have a better idea of what you should be looking for when you're looking for sources for your bibliography. For science, you might have, for example, a lab report that's due, or vocabulary that's due that goes into the lab report that might be due. I have here on Monday, do the vocabulary on Monday night that's due on Wednesday. Reason being, because vocabulary is typically a very, very straightforward sort of an assignment to do, so do anything that's the easiest thing to do on like a Monday or a Tuesday night. Don't wait. Do the easiest thing first and just get it out of the way. Then on Tuesday, you can start writing the lab report, but you don't have to finish it. And then on Wednesday, you can start typing it. And then Thursday, you can finish typing it, and don't forget to put it in your backpack. You see, I very explicitly wrote in backpack. I know that for my kind of purposes, me trying to juggle everything, that is a step that you can actually forget, and then you can very easily end up on Friday, a day when you're supposed to turn in the lab report, but you just don't have it there, simply because you forgot to bring it with you. It happens. So just write down that very simple sort of directive to yourself, so then you don't forget. Social studies. Report on Thursday, like a draft that might be due, and you might have to do a current event that is due on Friday. Current events, even if they're due on Friday, you can get them done on a Monday night or a Tuesday night. You can even start writing it on a Monday night and finish it on a Tuesday night. Current events, in my experience as a teacher, because I did teach the content area of social studies for a little while in middle school, current events are usually not that big of a deal to kind of finish. You can pull sources from online as much as you can from a newspaper, and they're pretty straightforward, kind of like doing vocabulary work, so getting them out of the way at the top of the week is a really good idea. You might have to do something like for your report for your draft, design a cover for the report. So you could do something like that on Wednesday when maybe you need a little bit of downtime in order to kind of balance out the heavier things, because doing something visual and artistic might be an enjoyable thing to do. So having that balance out the heavier things, that's a good thing to do on Wednesday when you might start to feel a little bit stressed, like you're almost to Friday but not quite there. If you have gone through and you have started working on your essay, because we'll just pretend like that's kind of a long-term sort of a thing, then what you could do is you could use Thursday as a way to go through and do things like highlight or edit or just simply print the draft that you might have been working on in a long-term way that will be due on Friday. And I didn't write in there put in backpack, but that could also be a really great directive to help you to remember. Put all of the things that you need in your backpack on Friday. And again, this is all orange, this is all green, this is all blue, and all red. And then for Spanish, you might have something like a conjugations chart that you have to fill out and turn in, and then a quiz that you have to deal with. And I have here, don't forget books. Just like up here, Monday's a great day to just remember to bring home any books that you might need to bring home, so then you're not stuck carrying mountains and mountains of books like in the middle of the week, and that's just backbreaking. Nobody needs to do that. So bring your books home first thing at the beginning of the week instead of forcing yourself to contend with that like in the middle when you're already stressed out because you're tired and you've already gone through like half a week of school. On Tuesday here, following the bring home your books, like that would be maybe your only assignment that you have on Monday because you were doing these other two assignments. You might have a conjugations sort of a chart that's due on Friday, but you might be doing something like taking a quiz. So you could do something like study your first set of items for your quiz and your second set and your third set in order to get yourself ready for the quiz. And I drew an arrow just so that you visually have that connection, knowing these things that you're doing are tasks that are going to be assessed on this day. Because, and I don't know if your brain works like this, but sometimes when I see a list, I see it in a very compartmentalized way and think, okay, this is only happening during this day. It's all that I have to kind of deal with. But drawing it and connecting it to another day can help you to understand, and it can help your brain to visually see, okay, it's going somewhere. It's going over there, so I know that this is in preparation for that. I continue to have arrows. Arrows are a great thing to use just to direct your attention so that you can visually have an illustration of what this sort of directive says for you and to you. This here says, don't forget your chart tomorrow. Don't forget your conjugations chart. And then here is like another kind of a full box due date, sort of a sticker that just gives emphasis for all of these big items that are due. On Saturday and Sunday, I have that so that they're written like this. Saturday and Sunday, I know that in my house, a little bit of what we try and do is like an allowance, so maybe you get a little bit of an allowance on that day, and you can do something like go shopping either online, buying like planner stickers off of Etsy, or going to the Target dollar spot. I have here like a wish list that you can even start to write if you want to keep in mind of what you want to do for Saturday. Saturday's a great time to just like chill out and stay at home, as much as to prepare yourself for just the next week by maybe looking ahead and figuring out if you have played sports or something, what your game schedule is going to be, so that you can get a very clear understanding of what's expected of you and your time, so that you can fill out your class stuff. It's also a great time for you to do things like unload and just repack your backpack and then put it by the door so that you don't forget it. As much as like get your lunch money together and kind of keep that together. Sunday is a great time to do cleaning day in your backpack, like I said. So this would be maybe like the end of the day on Sunday. Around here, I don't know how soccer schedules work for maybe your area, but there's actually a lot of soccer teams, like recreational and travel teams, that will do things like play on Sundays. So I have soccer game there, and this is like a road map. And here is a 15-minute pickup, just for you to go through and do things like clear off your desk and just like get things into your backpack in order for you to just be ready, so that when you start the next week that's not filled out yet, then you're ready to go because you've kind of done everything to get yourself ready. So I hope what I had to share with you today was helpful. I hope it was helpful to see a little bit of a breakdown in this kind of mini planner. This is something that I designed myself because I was previously a classroom teacher. I taught high school. I also taught middle school. I discovered from looking at agendas that were school issued that they weren't necessarily the most ideal sorts of setups for people when they were trying to do academic planning, when they were trying to do things like manage deadlines or big projects. And so that's a little bit of why I endeavored to do something like this. I designed this to be a little bit of like a supplemental sort of planner notebook, a smaller planner that could be used in partnership with a different sort of a planner. Academic planning is different than other sorts of planning. There's a lot of things that have to be accounted for when it comes to academic planning. It's not unlike doing project planning, where you might have a lot of different things that need to be done all in the same time frame, and then you have a lot of different deadlines that you have to manage and just kind of be very aware of. It's for that reason that I designed this kind of little mini planner so that it could have some color-coded sort of capacity, as much as it would be a little bit of like compartmentalized planning, so that it's easier for people to get at a glance a good visual read on a page. I have two versions of this kind of this setup. I have versions that are printables from my Etsy shop, as much as ones that are printed and shipped. And then I also have this that is a little bit of just like a flat kind of bound book that are all available in my Etsy shop. The setup is not unlike a teacher planner. This is actually something that I used doing lesson planning when I was in the classroom. And what I would do is I would use an A5 binder planner, and then I would tuck one of these into my binder planner, so then I could have my planning all together. The other great thing is this is a little bit of like a half letter size planner, so you can use this in a traveler's notebook kind of a setup, as long as you have something that fits a half letter size sort of an insert, or an A5 insert is another way to kind of look at it. You can also do something where if you have like a large kind of letter size planner and you have a little bit of like a portfolio, then you could tuck this into like the inner part of the pocket, the secretarial pocket of a larger planner. So that's a little bit of why like I designed this. I designed this for me to use, and then I just you know, made more and put them in my Etsy shop. So link the information about how you can find these in the description of this video if you are interested in just kind of like seeing kind of the options of what I have used because I designed them for myself. That's it for this video, and that's it for this series. And I thank you so much for watching this series. It was a 4-part series, and I will link all of the videos that are a part of this series in the description of this one. There was a video that looked at color coding. There was a video that looked at how to manage the midweek of any given kind of weekly sort of stretch in order to better evaluate how and what you should be doing in order to stay on track for your academic success. There was some discussion about using planner stickers and how planner stickers actually can be really helpful, why they're helpful, and it talked about individual learning styles like tactile learning and kinesthetic learning. All of that was all discussed in all of the videos in this whole series that was a 4-part series. So if you missed any of the other videos, then you absolutely can go back and watch them. Anything that you saw was helpful, then you should absolutely share it. Feel free to share it with anybody who it might be helpful to you, another student or a parent of a student or even a teacher. That's why I do these videos here on YouTube, because I am a firm believer in lifelong learning, in good quality free education, and I also believe in something called the shared economy, which basically means if I know something that could possibly help someone, then I'm willing to share it here on YouTube for just the greater good. Thank you so much for watching my videos here on YouTube. I know I have an awful lot of planning videos. It's over 100 at this point. I tried to do a daily video, meaning a video per day. I've kind of fallen out in the past couple of weeks just because I fought kind of illness and everything. That just comes as a part of like seasonal allergies and life and everything, but I did have really good stretch of time where I was literally doing a video per day, and almost all of them are about planning. So thank you so much for watching this video, for watching all of my videos. Thank you so much for leaving information in the comments for others to just kind of interact with and have great discussion. I love interacting with people in the comments. I always try and reply. I definitely read everything, and I see the comments as a great way to just connect one-on-one with other people who have kind of like-minded pursuits as I do. And there's a lot of fun to be had in the comments, just kind of talking about mutual interests and trying to do creative problem solving to help each other out. That's it for this video. That's it for this series, and I look forward to the next video where my daughter, Rainbow Girl, is going to be joining us because we're going to be talking about planner stickers, and we're going to be doing some preparation for some fun things we're going to do here on this channel. That's it. That's really it. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Bye!